Pleasant good afternoon, one and all. Pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to this special episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Welcome, one and all. Today is Friday, the 25th day of April 2025. And here we are, 4 p.m. To bring you this episode. As I said in the announcement, we're going to deal with the what is going on with the death of this child and the destruction of property, the response by the police. We're going to give you what you need to know this afternoon. But we want to tell you before we even start, share the live. You know, when we have these programs that are not at the regular scheduled time, we want you to share because many people would not know that we are on. You loyal students, the very dedicated students, would get the notice because you would have at some time in the past subscribed to the channel on YouTube. You would have hit the notification button so you get notification whenever anything is posted. But many people have not done that, and therefore they do not get the notification and may not be aware that we have a program on this afternoon. But as someone said, given what is going on, one of the students said, given what is going on, he knew that there would have been a program this afternoon. Well, he knew more than us because it's only this morning we decided that we're going to have this program this afternoon. Yeah, so share the live. Today, Friday, the 25th day of April, another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. Many people, including that little girl who was murdered sometime Wednesday or thereabout, were not that fortunate. So, yeah, share the live. The notification for the program today indicated that the gates will be open at 1 p.m. and it was open just 1 minute before 12:59. It was open, and no surprise, students were already there, ready to get into the schoolyard. And now that we have gone live, you can see we have almost 450 persons on the live. Share the live, and let others come on because we're gonna bring a lot of information to you today. A lot of information will be passed on, and as we would normally do, we're not just presenting the information. We're gonna analyze, we're gonna dissect what is going on so that you can get a better appreciation of what is going on in this lovely country of ours. And how incompetence and corruption, which is the name of this program, can impact people's lives. Incompetence and corruption can negatively impact people's lives. So yeah, share. And we are going to get started in a short while. I need not say that my colleague is already in the studio waiting for us to give you the credible, valuable information, do all the analysis. You know, there are lots of other programs, and we're not going to run down any program, but people have said, and you know, that when you come to Speaking Out, we are the ones, because we have the experience, we have the knowledge, right, that we can analyze these issues relating to security, relating to policing, and that is what we are going to do. When we scheduled, first man in all the way from Canada was Aubrey, 1953 Pantless. Sean from upstate came next. Aubrey came in at 12:59. Sean and others came in at 1. Joan at 1. Patricia, Gaston, my squad mate, Pastor Smith, Wayne from the UK, Rosalind, they all came in at 1. And shortly after, you had Charlene. Then it was Terence Young from Canada. The Angel came in. Morton and Anthony from Peters Hall and the East Bank. Then it was Leon. Then Sheena, Carol, Randolph, Paulette, Ulrich was them. Brenda. Then Father Masha is here very early. Glendis, Lyndon, Annette, Salima, Gordon is here with us. Then Umi is here. Tamo is here. Devan Shanghai. Claude Thomas is here. Dexter, Denise, Pamela, Westdam, Rhonda, Tessa is here. Orlando, Florida. Maxi BT, B10, 11704. Brian, Kevin, Courtney, Barbara, Siobhan, Clifton all the way from Paris, Doreen from Canada, Clive from the UK, Rhonda, West Demerara in the house. Then I'm still in the house. Unika, then it was Marcus, Siobhan, Bobby, then Francis Kidd from Melanie Damashana, Valerie, Claude, Melville, Queenie, John, Lorraine, Aral. Then it was after Aral, then it's another Lorraine, Bonita, Olive is here, George, Peter, Janella, Aubrey, Albert, Divian, Orin from the UK, Marva, Karen, Wayne is here, Jakey is with us, Dennis from Barbados, Michael from Mbai Madai, Princess Or, Lamar Springs, Brennan, Brooklyn, Winston is from California, Sean, Fergus, Earl, Terrence, and Terrence is this is Terrence, Kate Carto, Derek, Evelyn, Magnell, Marcia, Gary, Dwayne, Karen, Sherwin. Then after Sherwin is Bernadette, Cranston, Mark, Jacko is here, Lyndon. Then it was Dorette that came in. Raul, Telula is here. Say he's at work, but he can peep in. That we like the type of dedication. Mark, Cheryl from New Jersey, George, David, Dion, Joseph, Benji from Myconi, Sandra, Ovid, Sharon, Orville, Troy, Paul, Boo Alexander is here, Chandrine Bade. Then it was Kian, Mali, Kirsty, Ian, Diane, Diona Ryan is here, Smitty is here, 7464, Paul, Abera, June, Colin, David, Mary, Vashti, Denise, the secretary coming late. Ivor, what's Ivor say? Ivor say he just knew there would have been classes this afternoon. Ma with a clairvoyant person. Ross Levi is here. Carville, Malcolm, Vibert from the East Bank of Demerara. Philip, Chilo, Wardy is here. And then that was the last person in the schoolyard. When we went live, when the doors were open, we have Lennox. Look who come in late. Barlett. Barlett came in late. Jason, Trifosa, they're all in. Joan, Abu from Essequibo Coast is here with us. Lynette from Barbados. And the list is going. Rosie is here. Stian, Joyce, and the list goes on and on and on. Yeah, we have a lot to tell you. We have a lot. Let me make the announcements, and then we're going to move into it. Don't have any death to announce now. We're going to, let's update on some of the issues, just to remind you that based on what we learned, that the Pope who died, I think it was Monday, is scheduled to be buried tomorrow. So those of you who planning to go, make sure you book your flight. It might be too late now. Now, birthday greetings. Today is the birthday of my squad mate, Carl, who is on the live, Carl Hartman, 9414. Happy birthday to you, my brother, my squad mate. And then also some advanced birthday greetings. We have woman inspector chief, I'm not sure what it is, Laverne Jack. What was Laverne number? I think it was 16183. She's celebrating, I think it's tomorrow. And then on Sunday, a dedicated student who's on the live, Dorette Darlington, is celebrating on Sunday. So I want to take this opportunity to wish all those who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are going to celebrate it in the near future, all the best on your natal day. Hope that the Lord continues to bless you with good health, strength, and for you to be prosperous as you move on in your life. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to get into it. CC, welcome. Hope you had a good night. You know, we break the record, you know. I think it's the first time that we have had 3 consecutive days. We were here Wednesday, we were here Thursday, and we were here Friday again. So you're doing well. You broke the record. You came 3 times in 3 days. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Happy to be in the land of the living. And then if you get 2 geriatrics that can come 3 times in 3 days, it got to be an achievement. I know what the one who's weak down the leg side is going to say, but 3 geriatrics came 3 times in 3 days. I want to shout out to a woman. I went to the hospital this morning to check on a friend, and a lady approached me. She said she's a student, and she's looking forward for this afternoon. And then she made a contribution towards our program. I wish to thank her, and also to thank all those persons who have been contributing to our program.
Yeah. The contributions are welcome. The word contributions are welcome, and we got to continue to show our appreciation, and we have to continue to make sure that we do the work so that you can continue to be satisfied and you can continue to assist us in whatever tangible way you can. But let me tell you something. The crystal ball walking. Correct 99% of the time. Correct 90. I told you folks on Wednesday it was, when we learned that the people were reporting, the police were reporting that the investigations into the killing of Ronaldo Peters, which took place just under 2 weeks ago, where he was shot and killed by the police sergeant, which sparked the unrest the following day. Remember, they told us that that investigation was completed, and the file, on Wednesday, they said the file is going to be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice. And I told you on Wednesday that don't be surprised if before the end of the week, charge is going to be filed. The crystal ball did not say whether it's going to be murder or manslaughter, but the crystal ball did say that a charge will be filed perhaps before the end of the week. Well, we learned this morning, today, Friday, the 25th day, that Sergeant Kendall, the police sergeant who shot the youth, was charged with murder. He was charged with murder today and remanded to prison. And I tell you, the ball working. People have been asking me to borrow it. No, I'm not lending. The ball is working. I told you all, I am with along in the system, we can anticipate and make reasonable, intelligent anticipation of certain events. And as we said on Wednesday, that was done in an effort, the rush was in an effort to appease the relatives and to appease the Londoners and to say that we did something. And to further, when you're going to ask any question now, they're going to tell you that, well, the matter is sub judice, somebody's charged. They're going to report to the international community that breathing down the back with corruption and incompetence and so on. Oh, well, we did investigate. We acted, the word that NOSEF like to use, we acted with alacrity, and the person is already charged. And we went, it's breakneck speed. The person charged, the sergeant, and is before the court. Well, let us watch to see what the squatter will do. Because remember, when the people were charged in relation to the Quindon Bacchus murder, that is back in 2022, I think it was, yeah. They appeared in court on the 5th of July, 2022. And the squatter, in case you all knows the squatter, the commissioner, he squatted in the office there, dismissed those 3 ranks on the same day. So there was no presumption of innocence. So let's see what he will do with Kendall. Let's see what he will do with Kendall on lawlessness. Policemen charged, right? They're charged. But then there's a presumption of innocence. The correct procedure is that they should be interdicted pending the outcome of the charge. But no, not with that squatter. He dismissed those 3 persons from the day, the 5th of July, I think it was, when they appeared in the Vigilance Magistrate Court. I think it was Vigilance Magistrate Court they appeared. Right? So let me understand. The ball is working, and let's wait to see whether they're going to interdict Kendall, and which is the correct thing, or whether they're going to dismiss him, which is unlawful and unconstitutional. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to have his say, and then we're going to go into the main subject right away. CC, I'll show you what I've seen that Kendall charged today with murder.
Yeah, the crystal ball was correct. And you remember too the 3 ranks in Barbies, where an officer, so where they said, according to the commander, an officer misplaced his weapon and 3 men were dismissed. So let's see what's going to happen, Paul.
And the 3 men who were dismissed did not include the person who actually had the firearm, who was responsible for the firearm, and through his negligence or some other thing, the firearm, he didn't get trouble. But the 3 constables get dismissed. No, they weren't charged or anything like that, Just arbitrary dismissal, which is unconstitutional. But I guess the men didn't get the resources to challenge the thing. I don't know if they have challenged it and so on. But that is what is going on in the Guyana Police Force. And we have a lot to tell you about what is going on in the Guyana Police Force. Now, where to start? Let me do a quick recap And to say that we learned on sometime Wednesday that this young girl, Adriana, I think is her Adriana Young, went with her grandmother to this hotel, a tuition, to swim. The grandmother took her there to swim. Grandmother bought a bond which goes on. She was sent to buy a bond, and the girl disappeared. Wednesday. They went there like about 1 o'clock, and the grandmother said around 2 o'clock time when she ready to, they disappeared. They looked, couldn't find she. They made a report to the police station. The police claimed that they went there and they searched, could not find her. Right? All right. The people turn up, the parents and them turn up there, the father in particular, and others spend the whole night because they were convinced that this girl was in the hotel. Now the police came out with a statement, right, to say that this girl, they review the CCTV or the security camera. I know the police have this cameras in divisions and so on. They went to the control room, review, and it said that the video showed that this girl left this hotel, went into a car. They were specific, right? A red and black Ram. A Ram is a brand name. I think it's Toyota vehicle. They give you the license plate of this vehicle and proceeded east towards Vredenhoek. That is what they reported. They reported further that they checked the system in Georgetown, and the system in Georgetown showed that this vehicle was somewhere on the naming on the East Bank, as equivalent to some shop. This vehicle was there. That is what the police said. In the meanwhile, the family claimed, father and them claimed that the police were trying to get them to remove from in front of this hotel because the people camp out in front of the hotel because they knew that this girl was in there. They camp out, they're moving. That's Wednesday. They did not move. They were convinced. Now, yesterday, well, apart from that, the people claim that they searched this place. The police and them, they went and they searched, including the pool where this girl was swimming. She was not seen. Guyanese critic, went in there Wednesday night and video recorded this place, including the pool, to show that nobody was there. The video is there and circulating on social media. You can see it. Nobody was there. Then, yesterday morning, while the people were outside, making noise and so on, the body appeared in the pool. This body mysteriously, the body of this 11-year-old girl mysteriously appeared in the pool. So it was clear that what the police were telling the family and the members of the public was a lie. The girl was never seen because the people said I should have told you this, that they said when they asked to view the CCTV cameras in the hotel, because there were several cameras seen around the hotel, they said a manager told them that the cameras were not working. But it is further said that the neighbor who has a CCTV camera indicated that the camera showed the girl and the grandmother entering the hotel, and she never left. She never left. The question was, where did the police get this information from? Where? And we're going to analyze that as we go along. We're going to take it in stages. So I've given you a background. Now, of course, what happened then is that people became so enraged when this body was found in the pool that a fire started. Now, only today, I was looking at some video and so on. And the video that I see, it has been suggested. Let me choose my word very carefully. It has been suggested that this fire was not started by the people who were demonstrating and who went there to recover this body. The video showed they were downstairs and there was a lone man in the area where the fire started. They're claiming that he's a police. The same man they're showing you, he had on trousers and the pants was wet from the knee down, suggesting that he might have been at some stage in water. Right? The thing is circulating there. As I said, I don't want to speculate further, but the thing looks convincing that this fire, when it started, when the smoke started to billow from the room, a particular room, the people who were in this compound, in relation to this dead girl, they weren't there. Police are the people who were up there. It looked like guarding this place. So who started this fire? Who started the fire? And of course, we should know that the fact that they had the fire there, a lot of evidence would have been destroyed, because it is suggested that the girl was in the hotel. One lady claimed that during the course of the search, there was some trolley. There were 2 trolleys. One had some liquor thing, the other one had something cover, and then the thing disappeared. It has been suggested that the girl might have been there at that time, the body of the girl. Now, police action. Police went there the Wednesday night, and they said they searched, but it was clear they didn't do any proper search. But the suspicious thing, that the police made every effort to get those people away from there. And it was speculated, it is being speculated, that the reason why they wanted those forces removed was to get the opportunity to remove the body. That is what is being suggested. Because why you want the people are out there peaceful? Why do you want them to be, you're insisting that they must move. You're insisting they must move. Then you come out with a statement on Thursday morning, this bull statement about this girl being seen. And you know, this place, Calgary, is not a real place, not a nice place. When you see some of the comments, and you look at the names who are making these comments, you get an indication of who this people might be. People went so far to suggest that the girl must have gone off and she owned jaunt. An 11-year-old. And you know what? And I shed a tear yesterday because I said, as a father, as a grandfather, nobody would want that to happen to their child. Nobody. No reasonable person. Because enough of them unreasonable, they won't care. Right? But to see some of the vile suggestions on social media by some people with a particular kind of name, right? Wasn't nice. Wasn't nice. So we got to the stage there where, as we said, body recover. The building started to burn. We don't know who started the fire in the hotel. Let me understand this clearly. People were seen removing items. Then we understand that there's another building nearby that houses some party rental service associated with the same people. That too burned. Then we'll understand that the private residence of the proprietor of this hotel, some 1 village away, that too was set on fire. And then there's a building behind the hotel. I saw the man complaining this morning to Travis Chase. Behind that too went up from the hotel, because the man said he had some big propane tank and they had complained about it since the building was being constructed to no avail. So that blew and that destroyed the man building and all this type of thing. So it was madness there yesterday. And you know, some of the scenes that I saw with people walking, the police were there helpless. The police were there helpless yesterday. And we had a program on this yesterday afternoon, and a lot of people were, other than the students, I could well imagine, because I too was distracted. A lot of students were looking at what was going on live, and then we could share the program because we were anxious to follow what was going on. So we are up to that point as a background. Let me bring in Mr. Conway if he wants to tell us anything more. Are we doing the sequence? So we go up to the stage with the background yesterday, the body found, buildings burned, and all of that. We're going to move on when we come back onto the next phase of this whole discourse. Yes, CC, your take on what I have said so far.
Well, you're on the ball, and I saw a letter in the press recently, you know, that it brings back memory to the famous case, you know, Little Watty murder in Stanleyton, I think it's 1950, where a little girl was sacrificed. Somebody had a dream, you understand, that they can get Dutch money and they had to sacrifice somebody. And they found the girl in a toilet. And excellent detective work resulted in 4 persons being charged with murder. I think 3 get convicted. And the woman, Kathleen Fullington, I understand, was hung. You know, so sometimes history repeating itself. Certain similarities, you know, a little child found dead, and then, well, in 1950, then I don't think they had no attempt of cover up, but they was talk about diligent, meticulous police investigation resulted in persons being charged and executed.
Yeah, real police, you know, all them fancy thing now, gadget and so on, DNA and all of those things, but meticulous police work, which is still relevant in these modern times, can lead to conviction. Because the question is being asked, now that the building has been substantially damaged. Obviously, some evidence might have been damaged as well, but that is not necessary. That doesn't necessarily mean that you won't have evidence to find out what transpired. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Because let me go on. I told you about this statement that the police issued. The statement the police issued, and I studied which one I must read first. Let me tell you this one now. The police yesterday, surprise of all surprise, the police yesterday, they came out and the thing said, police admit releasing false information on Adriana Young's probe. The police admitted they were forced to admit because they were called out and the thing was, they were faced with facts and they were forced to admit. So here's what I say. Young disappeared while on a swimming outing at a Doubleday hotel located at Tusha East Bank and Sequebo. Despite checks in the pool and the hotel, she was not found on Wednesday, but her body surfaced in the pool Thursday morning. Police, in an initial statement released Wednesday night, said that they had reviewed footage showing the child leaving the hotel and was spirited away in a Ram motor car. That's what they said. They saw footage Wednesday night that this car picked up this girl and drove away. However, in a dramatic twist of events, the Guyana Police Force said certain details in the first statement were inaccurate. Quote, the Guyana Police Force wishes to clarify information previously disseminated regarding an alleged abduction involving an 11-year-old Adriana Young, which was reported to have occurred on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, 2025, between 102 hours and 14 hours at the Doubleday Hotel Tushan Public Road, East Bank, Essequibo. Following preliminary investigation, it has been determined that certain details contained in initial statements circulated were inaccurate. As such, the police force is currently reviewing the internal communication process that led to the release of that statement. End of quote. The statement added. The Guyana Police Force assures that a comprehensive investigation will be carried out to determine every action taken by the police. The circumstances under which inaccurate information was disseminated, including what led to such information, will also be thoroughly examined. The divisional commander and all ranks involved in the preparation, dissemination of the initial report will be interviewed and appropriate action will be taken to prevent further occurrence of this nature. End the quote. Airbull there, they come. What they call it? They call it, to clarify, previously they alleged that they give inaccurate information. The statement were inaccurate. Certain details in the statement were inaccurate. What was the detail? The whole bloody statement was inaccurate as far as I'm concerned. Because the most important part is you telling people that this girl was seen entering this vehicle and moving away. And as I've said, it is a suggestion that was deliberately done in order to get the crowd away from there so they can do the mischief. And the mischief I'm talking about was to move the body away. To move the body. But before I bring in Mr. Conway, here what happened after that? This morning we're seeing a man making demand. You know, the police said, I should have told you that part too. They said that when they checked the registration number of the vehicle, they were able to contact the registered owner of the vehicle. And the registered owner told them they he rented this vehicle to some man named Orlando. But they couldn't make contact with Orlando. So here what is being revealed this morning. Here what is being revealed. Listen carefully, student, because this is going to be an exam question. So listen carefully. A man said, I was treated like a criminal. Man wrongly accused of Adriana's young death speaks out. Dion Fraser, a 25-year-old contractor from Parfait Harmony, is calling for his name to be cleared after being wrongfully detained in connection with the tragic disappearance and death of 11-year-old Adriana Young. Jeffrey, who was held by the police for over 12 hours on Thursday, has described the ordeal as stressful and humiliating, saying the false accusation have not only cost him work, but have also left him fearing for his safety and reputation. Listen to the story. Adriana Young was found lifeless in the swimming pool of Doubleday hotel and tuition on Thursday, the day after she had reportedly gone missing during a family outing. Repeated searches of the hotel grounds between Wednesday and Thursday morning initially failed to locate her. A statement from the Ghana police force claimed CCTV footage showed the child entering a red and black Toyota Ram, registration PSS 4684, which allegedly drove away in the direction of Villeneuve. That statement was later retracted. I don't know that they retract the statement, right? I don't know that they retract the statement. They said certain aspect of the statement was false. Then retract no statement. I have not seen no full retraction, right? So let me understand now. A case, if they're asking a question here now, is it a case of mistaken identity or a blatant lie? Let me go on to read. Unfortunately for Dion Jeffrey, that registration number matched a car he had recently rented. Dion Jeffrey. I don't know if his name Orlando too. Dion Jeffrey. Then the man is quoted there saying, I saw the post on Facebook and was shocked. Jeffrey told, this is Newsroom, a propaganda piece for the PPP. They reporting this. I didn't even know what was going on. I had just picked up my brother and his wife to take them to the hospital when I was stopped by police near the Arbor Bridge. According to Jeffrey, officers initially accused him of hit and run involving a child in tuition, a claim that baffled him as he had not visited that area for over a week. End of quote. Quote again, I got upset. I have nieces and nephews around the same age. I'd never harm a child, much less drive away from the scene. End of quote. To his shock, a second officer then informed him he was being investigated for alleged abduction. Quote, I was detained from around 6 a.m. and wasn't released until after 6 p.m., Jeffrey said. I was treated like a criminal, even though I had done nothing wrong. End of quote. Jeffrey was held at the Lagrange police station on the instructions of the divisional commander. While he says some officers treated him respectfully, including a Miss Boston at Lagrange, others, particularly those at the Harbour Bridge, were aggressive and refused to provide their badge numbers. Quote, I live in an apartment complex where more than 10 people can confirm I was home at the time of the alleged abduction. The car never left the front of the building, end of quote. Jeffrey says he was never placed in a cell, but had to spend the day seated and under constant watch. The incident, however, cost him more than just peace of mind. I lost a contract worth $500,000 because I couldn't show up for work. I get paid daily, and this incident makes me look like a criminal. Who's going to want to work with me now? End of quote. The car in question has since been reclaimed by its owner, who, like Jeffrey, now fears backlash from the public. Jeffrey says the man is worried the vehicle could be targeted or vandalized due to the misinformation. Jeffrey, a devout Muslim who abstains from alcohol, smoking, and partying, says the situation has been especially painful given his quiet lifestyle and strong values. For someone like me to be dragged into something like this, it's tough, really tough. That is what he's quoted as saying. Now that Adriana bodies has been found and the vehicle officially ruled out in her disappearance, Jeffrey is appealing to both public and authorities to correct the narrative and restore his reputation. Quote, I was falsely accused. I was never involved in any abduction. I just want the truth to come out so I can go back living my life in peace. Now, a lot to unpack there. But before we go in, let me bring in Mr. Conway. He's going to talk about what he just heard, and then we're going to go into it. I'm going to join him in dissecting some of the things. Cici, go ahead.
Yeah, we like to do statement analysis. And listen to the statement, the first part. Certain details contained in the internal statement circulated or inaccurate. If you want to come clean, tell us what are the inaccuracies. Why you hiding it at this stage? You're coming forward now, and you're saying about certain details contained in the initial statement circulated inaccurate. Tell us up front what is or what are the inaccuracies, and then they talk about circumstances under which information was disseminated will be thoroughly examined What I mean? And listen to the one. Commander and all ranks, including involving the preparation and dissemination. So they say now, they indicting the commando that the commander and other ranks were involved in the preparation and dissemination of this inaccurate information that they're talking about. And then they were very silent about the command center because it had to be, they said the command center give them information. Let the command center come clear. Nothing, they mentioned the command center. Let the command and show the clips. Let them know they're talking about transparency, and this statement what they get is clouded with secrecy. They're not coming forward as they are to, talking about they indict the commander and our ranks involved in the preparation and dissemination. So the commander is involved here, and then they talk about the certain details inaccurate. Tell us tell us about the inaccuracies. They try something, but they're not transparent. They're not transparent, and they're not truthful, and they're still hiding things. Expose it. It don't go wrong already. Let the public know, and we feel good that you're doing something to clear the situation. But this is like a sheer lies, and they're gonna tell a lot of lie to try to cover up that lie.
Tell a lot of lie to corrupt the lot of lie. But inaccuracies indeed. Because let me say this. If we analyze that thing clearly, with the narrative that they put out there. Remember, they said that this child had left in this vehicle. This child has left in this vehicle. You know how many things could have happened there? Imagine some people outraged, saw this vehicle or saw this man in this vehicle, wherever it was, at that same morning. That man could have been armed. Mr. Jeffrey, it got to be a very fortunate man, could have been armed. And then, let me tell you the cynical part, as I see it, very cynical, is that they're saying this girl left in this vehicle. They put out to say that this vehicle was involved in a hit-and-run accident. That is what hit-and-run accident. Therefore, if you wanted to, maybe given the injuries that the girl has, maybe at some stage the body might have been torn up and it would have been deemed to be an hit-and-run accident had the family not maintained their presence at the place there. That is what they said. The Harbour Bridge people said when they stopped them, they said, hit and run. He knocked down some girl at tuition. They were specific. He struck down someone at tuition, and that's what he said they stopped him for. And then later on, someone come and say, well, it has to do with an abduction. That is what these people are saying, Follow this thing carefully. Now, if this man hit down somebody at the place there, as they're claiming, how come at that stage I didn't find this body too? It is all lies. All lies. And I am of the opinion, and this is my opinion, that given the sequence of events, this thing was well planned. Once this disappearance took place, I believe certain people became involved and they concoct this fancy story about the girl going in this vehicle and so on. So if the people were gullible, they would have left that place going and looking for this vehicle, and then they would have done the magic. They would not have been forced to, the body would not have been found yesterday at the hotel to incriminate the people at the hotel. That body might have been found somewhere. Then you're going to hear is some fatal, some hit-and-run accident. But the girl been in there with her grandmother. At what stage she would have gone there for vehicle accident? So there are a lot of things to be unraveled. At what stage they said, well, then they retract the, it's not a hit-and-run accident any longer, it's an abduction. And the next question is, if this, you realize that the man could not have been involved because the body was found at the hotel. There's about 10, 11 o'clock. Why keep him there till 6 o'clock in the afternoon? Huh? Why keep him there until 6 o'clock in the afternoon? Incompetence and corruption. And when the U.S. talk about corruption in law enforcement, Nandalal and them jump out. they jump out. But it is evident. I am sure, look, let me tell you, corruption had to be involved, not only incompetence. Corruption had to be involved in this. This story was too, they tried to put it together. But again, because of the vigilance of the father and those other people, the man said he got it in the guts that he darted in there. So he ain't going no place. He lay down out there, he got sleep right out there. In the meanwhile, the police urged him, go away from here, go away from here. Police were more concerned, the people said, with protecting the hotel than than finding this girl. They were more concerned with protecting the hotel. Then you got to investigate to see what is the relationship between the people who own the hotel and the police. That would have been a part of the investigation. That would have been a part of the investigation. And then the president came out, or as we would say, the president came out with a statement, and he said, I have asked the Commissioner of Police to assemble a special team to lead the investigation into all circumstances surrounding 11-year-old Adriana Young. We must uncover the truth, the full truth. That is what he said, you know. I don't get half truth, but we must uncover the full truth of everything that transpired. And no resource or effort will be spared in doing so. Whatever specialized resources are required to determine every aspect of the event and circumstances will be provided. Additionally, I've asked the police, I asked that the police explain in detail every action taken since the matter was reported. Like the rest of the country, I stand with the family at this time of extreme grief. There's a statement from the president yesterday. And then shortly after, we heard that a forensic, a pathologist from Barbados again, not the RSS, I think, but a pathologist from Barbados will be coming to do the examination. Because as we said yesterday, those of you who were in class yesterday, as we said, the postmortem examination is critical. And not a regular postmortem, we're going to say the cause of death. I understand cause of death is easy to determine. But then you want to know the time of death as well. You want to know the time of death. And as we explained there again, this body wasn't submerged. If we saw the video, it's there. They think the body wasn't submerged. And I remember the training, you know, about rigor mortis and all of that, right? And let me understand what happens when a person drunk. Me, I'm no scientist, but I get a little sense, right? Not nonsense. I get a little real common sense. When a person drunk, person gone down. If you go in a place in water, you're going down. Got a river, you're going down. Once it is deep enough, you're going down. And you got to remain down. And once you remain down and you can't breathe in oxygen, you breathe in water, you pull water, the water full up in your lungs. And that is what causes people to drown, water full in your lungs. And because of that, you're gone down. You sink down there, you ain't coming up. You are down. Nobody don't drunk and float right away. You're drunk, you're down at the bottom there. And then certain chemical processes will take place. The body started to decompose. Gases will start to build up. And as the gases build up, right, in the body becomes buoyant. They said that occurs with like 48 to 72 hours after. It becomes buoyant, it float up to the top. It float up. That is how drowning take place. And I said yesterday again to the students, this in terms to determine whether she died from drowning or from some other cause, it shouldn't be difficult. Because if you're drunk, water in your lungs, either you're drunk, they call them in some cases you died from drowning or pulmonary edema. I remember that phrase, pulmonary edema, water full up in your lungs, you're dead. Right? So you know it's drowning. Now, if a person dies and is then submerged into the water, and that person can't breathe, so water can't go in your lungs. So when they do the postmortem, if the person was killed before, they would see that there's no water in the lungs. And if the person is held and submerged, you're going to get marks of violence consistent with someone being held strongly, and especially a child pulled down in the water. So let me wait for the post-mortem examination. And they said this might come. We understand that the post-mortem examination was to be done this morning at 8 o'clock. Post-mortem didn't take place because the family who have retained Darren Wade, attorney Darren Wade, to look into the interest, they bring in their own people. They want their own forensic person to come. And then Hey, social media is a wonderful thing. Don't ever give up on social media. This man with a is a man from Barbados. Think he's from India, but he's worked out of Barbados. There's a post on social media this morning questioning the competency or the qualification of this man that they brought to breakneck speed to Guyana. I should tell you the postmortem was not done this morning because the family say, hey, we want 3 people to come. But I had said to some people, let me understand how the system works. Postmortem is done. A family member will go there to identify the body. When the postmortem is finished, the body will be handed over to the relatives for burial. Right? They do the postmortem, you hand over to the body to the family to burial. Now, at that stage, the family can decide to keep the body as long as they want and get their independent person to do the postmortem. But that wasn't, I think that there was no need for that because something happened and the postmortem was called out this morning. But here the qualification of the man who came in. The person said, the man named Paul. Oh, that's his last name, not first name. His surname is Paul. So don't say, I miss my namesake. It's Dr. Paul. You know, Dr. Paul was a radio show back in the 70s or 60s when I was a little boy. Dr. Paul. A matter of fact, some of my neighbors used to call me, older neighbors, Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul is not formally trained, is not a formally trained pathologist, nor is he a forensic pathologist. Hear what the people saying. Dr. Paul is not a formally trained pathologist, nor is he a forensic pathologist. He did not complete formal residency in pathology. He was working under a forensic pathologist in the UK and came to Barbados to work as a forensic pathologist. What cases has he done in Barbados? He cannot even do his own histology slides. This man is a fraud and will just pervert the course of justice. Ask the man for his qualifications. Ask him which hospital, university he got this pathology training from. Ask where he did his fellowship. Do not be fooled. This man has been pushed to the side in Barbados. He's not doing any cases. With all the recent murders in Barbados, how does he have time to go to Guyana? Adriana needs justice, not just for us. Let somebody write this. Questioning this man, what they bring in from Barbados. Questioning his qualifications. Well, perhaps it's a good thing that they decide they're not going to do the postmortem. Can we saying that if you have nothing to hide, make sure that a proper forensic, credible autopsy is done. And that is no wishy-washy thing. And as I've said before, I am not casting aspersions on our lone forensic or our lone pathologist. Well, not alone, because there's one in Barbados as well, Dr. Niall Singh, because they also have Dr. Bridgman. But people are skeptical. And therefore, if you're going to do this thing, you have to make sure it is done properly. And I am reminded, as I told them yesterday, a forensic or a pathologist can't just come and work like that in Guyana. He has to get some accreditation from the medical council. I recall when I was in Barbados as a commander, the other killing, I think, was BAS, Barbados Anti-Smuggling Squad, Azad Bakas, a renowned smuggler, had some confrontation with BAS and they shot him and killed him. And the family, similarly to this one, want to make sure that there was a proper independent pathologist. They didn't trust Dr. Bridgman. And they brought in a man from Trinidad. Can't remember his name now. But we discovered the man did not go through the process to get accreditation from the medical council. So I had an interaction. As a matter of fact, I was reminded by someone today that I went to the Merriman's funeral home where the body was and the autopsy was to be performed. And I invited him to come to my office to speak. And he came there with some family members. And I told him, I said, well, I said, even if you do the PM, I think the intention is to make sure that whatever findings you have can be presented in court. And if you're not accredited, you don't have the authority to work in Guyana. It's a waste of time. And the person reminded me today, a journalist from Barbados, that the man said when he made a statement, he referred to me as a consummate professional. I can't remember his name, as a consummate professional. So yes, so that is not going to be done. President want independent. Where these people going to come from? Let me ask Mr. Conway, don't bring in Mr. Conway, man. I want to dominate the button. See, the president said right? That they're going to ask the commission to assemble a special team to lead the investigation into all the circumstances. Where this team coming from, right? Tell me.
Maybe from RSS, maybe from RSS. But get back to this pathologist, the president with breakneck speed pension that he got somebody. I don't even think he must have consulted his friend Mayor and sent some duck curry or some catfish curry for, and say, hey, let me get a good man. And I've been running a list, a list of 14 countries stretching from Jamaica on the north to Belize and Guyana in the south in terms of forensic pathologists. Jamaica got 7 in the Ministry of Health, and you wouldn't got 9. And of all the lists, Belize, Bahamas, Barbados, Antigua, Barbuda, Curacao, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago. This man's name is not mentioned. They list all them forensic pathologists, list them, and this man here, this Dr. Paul, his name not mentioned. So where him come from? Where they get it from? But maybe that's part of the cover up. Choose your man so that you give a report of cause of death that you want. He is not listed. All the pathologists are listed from Jamaica to Belize to Guyana, and he is not listed there. He's not listed, but they bring together, perhaps so that as part of the cover up that he will give a cause of death what they want. So we got to be careful. We've got to be careful. He's not listed. And I want them to disprove me. I get a list with all the names. I want them to disprove me.
Well, excellent work, CC. Excellent work. Folks, I tell you, we are not ordinary on this speaking out. Mr. Conway went and he did the research in all the countries, 14 countries he told you about to find out. Because we look at to see this man's qualification. Because we said to you that people come from abroad to do something. You got to find out what qualifications they have. That is what we were saying about the people who came from RSS. They might be excellent investigators for all, but the government would have owed it to the public to give us these people CV so that we know that they are competent to do the investigation into the murders or the killings at Linian. Well, one is murder now because the man got charged to the one murder and the other killing. We need to know. You can't just say you're bringing somebody from abroad. Who are you bringing from abroad? Some blasted quack? Some fake? That's what you're bringing? Some phantom man you're bringing? We need to know. And that is what I'm saying. Sometimes I call out my friends in the media and say, hey, you got to do more in depth. When I bring this thing, I have to ask searching questions. Who is this person coming? What is his background? And all of that. We can't just accept because this man coming from abroad, this man is qualified. As the thing said, the person wrote to say, the man don't even do the work in Barbados where he's based. He ain't doing the work there. And they're bringing him to Guyana to say that he can be the man, the independent pathologist. We're going to continue to research and we're going to continue to skin them up, right? That's why they don't like we. Because we come here to tell you the truth. We analyze things and we tell you the truth, the old truth, and nothing but the truth. And that bothering them. That irritating them. But they got to stay irritated. Now, let me move on, man. This whole incident has caused a lot of people came out. They came out to make comments on social media. The vice president yesterday at the press conference, I don't listen to you. I ain't got a type of patience. I don't want to break my own TV because if I listen to somebody crap the man talking there and somebody lies, I might pick up something and lash my TV, believing that they're lashing in the TV. So I ain't going through that. But you just pick up one snippets along the way when people posting. So yesterday, he's reported to have said, if you, the police, view the footage with a young lady entering a car, then release the footage that you viewed. We want to see it too, and the family would want to see it. How after this young lady left, her body returned to the pool. Something is wrong, and we have to get to the bottom of it. And we will not rest until we do. That's what Jack Doe said yesterday. Let me read the back. Jack Doe yesterday. If you, the police, viewed footage with a young lady entering a car, then release the footage that you viewed, we want to see it too. And the family will want to see it. How after this young lady left, her body returned to the pool. Something is wrong, and we have to get to the bottom of this. And we will not rest until we do. That's what Jack Joe said yesterday. So even Jack Joe knew that the police lying. If you saw this footage with this girl leaving, show it to the public. But as we say, it's a Nancy story released by the Police Corporate Communication Unit. And again, I will use this opportunity to call for the revamping of that entire unit, starting by getting rid of the man who is in charge, Mark Ramatar. I understand that he is on leave, and he might not have been directly responsible for this release, this misleading release that they finally admitted. Maybe they admitted because he wasn't there too. But this is not an isolated case. Even the most recent one at Linden, remember? They said the police were all dressed in uniform. The video that surfaced shortly after showed that that was a lie. That was a lie. We got to the Myconi where the two men were killed, lie again. And that is what they do all the time. Essequibo or in Boston. Oh, the man attacked the police, they tried to disarm the police. Man was lying in his bed naked with his wife when he was shot and killed. You cannot. And I'm saying you got to start by getting rid that old unit. And I said yesterday, in the past, this new iteration of the police information is a post-2020 stuff, right? Before that, police officers trained in public relations and so on. You had Ivla Whitaker, who's on the live now, I'm sure. Patrick Mentor, who normally here. John Sayers, David Ramnarine, Father Harris, and those people. Proper releases used to go out. But what it seems to be what is going on is that, police have what they call a morning report. So each division, each station, you submit your morning report, it is compiled, and so you know what went on in the thing. It would appear as though they're getting this access to this morning report and just write whatever is there. Some issues or items or details that should never even go out, they're putting out. It's not that you want to hide anything, but certain things you need not put out. They're going to tell you some assistant superintendent corrected a child or a gazetted officer carried out a thing, and they used vehicle number so, and vehicle number so. One of the most disturbing releases is when the Ministry of Education and the police carried out some raid on a school in Woolford Avenue. The Police Corporate Communication Unit released the names of all the students, all the teachers and all the police who were involved in that operation. That's what they released the name of the teachers. In a time where parents are known to attack teachers, they're releasing the names of the teachers and exposing them to that type of danger. Similarly, the police, they're releasing the names of the police. And we have been warning for a long time. That that should not be. So all of a sudden now, they want to see. But there's nothing to release, Jack Dio. It's lie. There is no video to release. The police told a lie. Well, you got to try to find out why. What was the motivation for them telling such a blatant lie? That is what you need to find out. Not whether it is a lie or not. It is obviously a lie. Because they said the girl left in a vehicle. The body turned up dead at the poolside or in the pool. So you still believe some magic took place where she went in this vehicle and then somebody said shajam and she turned back and she went there. They lied. And what you need to find out is why. What was the motivation for them lying? Did Jackie Opel visit? These are some of the questions you must ask. Did Jackie Opel, and for those of you who don't know, when we say Jackie Opel, what we mean, Jackie Opel was a singer. He sang a famous song called You Got to Pay. And you got to pay. The older people here can understand what we're talking about. You got to pay. So we're talking about Jackie Opel visiting is whether payment took place. That is what you got to find out. And then a lot of people came out, man. Look, this one here too. Says Gunraj. Now, Says Gunraj is a member of the election commission there. PPP member of the election commission. Hear what he says. Whenever the police force blunders, the citizens of this country always suffer the brunt of it, and the government is to be blamed. Hear what he's saying? When the police force blunder, the citizens of this country always suffers and suffers the brunt of it, and the government is to be blamed. Who you want to blame? Is who put these people there? The commissioner who passed retirement age, who put it there? Who put the commander? Who put them in the position? Is y'all putting them there? So when the shit big, is y'all got to accept the blame, and the shit in big steady. Now only buckets, drums, kunks taking place. That is what. So they're asking all of these questions now. And I saw one, I was trying to get a one, we couldn't find it back. Even the rapist, the accused rapist, issue a statement. He too lambasting the police. I see the circling now. Like they want to get you the Ikin, but Ikin, it's time you should go. Do the right thing, pick up your things and go. Because everything bad happening since you take over. And as I made a post on social media, I said in part, a former colleague of mine used to say that you will get what you want. You fight. We can do all sorts of things to get the commissioner work. You nearly kill Happy, all sorts of things. All sorts of things you do to Happy. He wanted the job. Jack Dio, he said, promised him the job. Right? You do all sorts of things to get the work. But attack people, backbite. You do all kind of things. Campaign for them during the last election. You do that. You're going to get what you want, but you might not want what you get. So you get what you want. You wanted the commissioner work. You get the work. But you might not like what you get. And this is what is coming down. Karma. And it ain't done yet. It ain't done yet. So we have a situation now. Before we give Mr. Conway, let me run this last one. This is today, things sweet bad. Yeah, share the life, man. Share the life. Share the life. Share the life. Things sweet bad. Today, somebody, a group of, it appears, got aside concerned, very concerned ranks. So it looked like police writing now. Very concerned ranks. Here they say, the shame and embarrassment have been coming fast and furious. The Guyana police force has been lurching from one debacle to the another. A historical look will prove that no commissioner of police who worked beyond his constitutional age of retirement enjoyed a smooth ride. From Larry Lewis, Floyd McDonald, Henry Green. They all suffered poor public relations, and by extension, the entire force image is tarnished. Over the past 3 years, and in particular under Ikin's tenure, the force's image has suffered its worst. I concur with that statement. It goes on to say, 1, in-house and legal fighting for promotion. Hear what the people concerned around saying. They have in-house and legal fighting for promotions. Allegations of fraud at the highest level of the administration. Mismanagement of resources. Racial and political discrimination within the system, including postings, appointments, and promotions. Alleged corruptions and drug run-ins by senior officers. Missing drugs. Fatal shootings. Release of misinformation. Continuous financial impropriety. Mishandling of policing operations. This list is just a microcosm of deeper-rooted issues under Ikin's leadership. There's a general lack of esprit de corps in the organization. There's a lack of trust and unity within. It needs repeating that every extended commissioner has been like an albatross on the force. It is time to go, Clifton Ikin. Your time has expired a long time ago. Thanks for your service and goodbye. This is signed very concerned ranks. By concur, it's time for Ikin to go. He should have never been there in the first place. I have said repeatedly since before he was appointed that he's not qualified either academically or otherwise to be the commissioner of police. But I wanted him there. Gail Teixeira come out and said that he's the best thing since sliced bread. She wrote a thing there. And they said that one of the guys, one of the persons said that the other forces in the Caribbean, Ikin is doing such a good job that other forces in the Caribbean are trying to emulate the Guyana police force. That is what was said. Other forces in the Caribbean are trying to emulate the Guyana police force. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man, and then we can talk a little bit more about this. See, you concern ranks, man. I would say very concerned ranks. Your take.
Factual, but I left out a couple of things, Foremost should have been the killing Linden Wisma Bridge, where 3 persons were slaughtered by the police. Lindo Creek, and many extrajudicial killings. It's time he can go along his way. But he said, remember when they banished him to look at Venezuelans in Region 1, Region 7, and Region 8, Region 2. And he said that Granger government is a one thing government. One term they can get. And Jack Dio told him that when the government changed, Jack Dio is gonna make him the commissioner of police. And even when they extended him, he told his divisional, his 2IC's division, that Jack Dio tell he gonna keep it till after election. This means that Jack Dio and Efren Ali tell he they're gonna keep it till after election. He tell me so. He told me so. Now the communications, I can't even describe it, but Mark Ramotar and them, it's time they go. Time they shake up that place. What time they close it down for a while, This time that they go. If they're on leave, he shouldn't come back on leave. And Paul, you mentioned something that Jackie Opel. I understand that Jackie Opel was there, was the Moraro. He flew in. And understand he had a package, he had a 5 million, 5 Michaels. I'm not casting anything for anybody, but he has 5 Michael play out. And I was Commando West Demeraro. I always mention that I was Commander for Region 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The only division I never command is Region 2. And I still maintain my contacts with all the divisions. And a close relative told me, and I believe him, that when they tackle the commando and say, hey, we must have a missing person report, the commander said, and I'm talking about the person, that he will reason with the boss man for the hotel. Those are the words. He will reason with the boss man for the hotel. And let me stop there.
The reason with the boss man, reasoning took place. Now let me say this. They have been calling for the commander to go. They have been calling for Ikin to go. Some saying that Robeson, Mr. Minister Shoot and Scoot should go. I agree that all 3 of them must go. But look, look what, let me put it up and say, look, y'all read this, students. Read this. Big Smith News Watch. That's today, Why is the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mandal, still in a command position in the division that has misled the entire nation? Why? Mr. Mandal needs to be removed immediately. And we call on the public to call on the police force to remove this officer. The man calling on the public. Note, he ain't calling on the commissioner that they say is his friend. He calling on the public to call on the police force. Time to look at the arrow. Big Smith calling on the public to call on the police force to move Mandal. But let me say this. I know Mandal. Mandal is a nice boy. He's a nice, quiet boy that I knew then. Right? Used to be a presidential guy that drive people and things. Knew then. The issue that we have been talking about Mandel is not trained to be no commander. Mandel doesn't have the qualities to be a commander because he wasn't exposed to policing. I don't think he ever been at a station where you run a station or a subdivision. And that is part of the problem they have. You never come through the system. And you look at me, for example, I never run a station or anything like that, but was exposed to high quality training. I was exposed to high quality training to prepare me for senior command position. But you get a lot of people that now, they're putting in these senior command positions and they have no training and they don't have the experience. So Mandel is at sea, he's a sailor, he should be working at Transport and Harbors Department. He's a sailor. He went down there the night, inappropriate police action. They're caught in the place, they ensorge the place properly. Inappropriate. He was seen on video trying to get the people them to go. Go away, go away. Why? Same Mandel again, he was at Madhya when those children were killed there. The next day, no proper cordon of the scene. The Prime Minister, Lion Mark Phillips, Priya Manikchand, they're in the debris, which turned out to be a crime scene because they charged a young girl for murder. Again, his experience. Because when you look at the video yesterday, somebody asked me, what happened if they don't cordon these places any longer? Well, said that requires experience. Because when you get fire and you get to see things, something like that, you got to make sure that you establish a perimeter and nobody can cross the perimeter. But what you see happening there, all people there all over, there was no attempt to take control of that scene. None at all. None at all. So it's a problem with training. But why they calling for Mandel to go? And they're calling for you're mentioning the main culprit in all this was the extended squatter. What he said, Mr. Mandel needs to be removed immediately. And we call on the public to call on the police force to remove this officer. That is what you have. That is what you have. Yeah, Mandel should be removed. But so too should the commissioner. Because the buck stops there. And he has been blundering and floundering all the time. And as we mentioned, and I think one of the journalists made the point too. One of the journalists made the point. Not an interaction with the media. You had Linden killings. No statement. No, the police and the commissioner of police is not prepared to face the public and to tell them what has happened. He's not prepared to do that. This thing yesterday, not prepared to do that. Look at any incident, whether it's a mass shooting or any major incident in the States and elsewhere. Senior policemen will come out, interact with the media, tell them exactly what transpired and what they are going to do about it and so on. But you don't have that in Guyana. The commissioner is sheltered. So much so that it was early this year. The commissioner, I think it was February around then, commissioner appeared on a press conference with Robeson Ben, Shoot and Scoot Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs. And then when a question was directed to the commissioner who sat at the table with him, Ben interjected and said, no, direct the questions to me, not to the commissioner. Can you imagine that? The commissioner at a press conference with the Minister of Home Affairs, and a question is directed to the commissioner by a media operative. And the Minister of Home Affairs jumps in to tell them, don't direct the question to the commissioner, direct the question to me, the minister. Shows that the minister has no confidence in the commissioner. He doesn't believe the commissioner can answer a question in matters relating to the police force adequately. So he jump in. So what do you expect? What do you expect? And then let me bring in Mr. Kabir to comment on that. I got something out of sort to read to y'all, man. Right? See, there's no press conference, nothing at all to update and to tell people what's going on. What are your views about that?
Well, he had one, you know. He had a big one when he and Blanum, the crime chief, said they're going to debunk the statement by the sergeant. We talk about the paper shot shooting on the computer that they had and all kind of thing, you know. And they made a miserable attempt to debunk. And since then they get scared. Them thinking. But let me get back to Mandel. You know, sometimes where people are, we know the police force, since you're a man at a certain station, you're no trouble. something unusual gonna happen, something irregular gonna happen. And perhaps where Mandel is, you getting blood, you getting fire. I remember with the Henry boys, he was a 2IC to Cooper. He was a 2IC to Cooper there. With the Henry boy matter and the shooting and then the fire and all, and he was a 2IC there. The movie they carried to Region 1, he wasn't performing there. They carried to Region 8. We had 12 little girls died. 12 girls died in that fire there. The whole place burned down. They had it at the same region again where he is, and he wasn't performing the movie. Now they carry back there, and look is what is happening there. When you are the commander, you gotta take everything. And then when you look at it, it's part of them. You gotta blame the government too, It's part of them Indianizing the police command. Indianizing the police command with incompetence and corruption. And I say I will say when you look at it, Region 1 Indianized, Region 2 Indianized, Region 3 Indianized, Region 4B Indianized, Region 6 Indianized, Region 8 Indianized. No, sorry, and region Region 7 Indianized. Region 7 Indianized. The thing is that they're Indianizing the command of the force with incompetence and corrupt people. People who they had no experience. All of them come from specialized area. Region 1 man was came from a specialized area. Region 2, a specialized area. Region 3, specialized area. 4B, specialized area. Region 6, specialized area. And Region 7, specialized area. They don't have the experience. They don't have the experience. They didn't have the experience, so they were going by trial and errors. When you have competent people, and the competent people, they keeping them down. They're keeping them down. So I'm saying, yes, it's high time that the commander for Region 3 go along his way. And I say in the high time too that he can go along his way. Go along the confirmed squad must go along his way. And you gotta play when some things happening in the division, more gonna happen because I repeat myself, they're Indianizing the command structure of the Ghana police force with incompetence and corruption. They're waking up, Dr. Peter. They're promoting incompetence.
Yeah, that's exactly because despite all that you're saying there with these people and all the clear display of incompetence, they're getting promotion. So that there's no need for them to show any competence. They get the right texture of here, and that's it. They have the right ethnicity, and that is it. Just one correction. One of the students corrected me. It's not 12 children died. It's 19 or 20, right? Right. So yeah, Rhonda saying Region 7 is well, he's not Indian, but it's 6. Mr. Conway mean Region 6, not 7, right? But yeah, the numbers remain 1, 2, 3, 4A. Sorry, let me go back. That 1, 2, 3, 4B, 4C, 6, 8, all Indian commanders. Then we get the traffic chief, Lucifer himself. We get Soku. We get the finance office. We get admin, and many, many, many more. Right? Just put there. And many of those persons are not competent to hold those positions. Look at the finance officer, a man who sits there and said that Brutus telling for a rat check from the Police Central Welfare Fund to pay something, and they charge Brutus, and he is still there. Look at that. That is what is going on. That is gone. And going back to the complaint made by the, very concerned ranks, they talk about in-house legal fighting for promotion going on long now. And, look at certain things. You had the incident at Linden, well documented. You had West Demerara, well, not West Demerara now, East Bank execution. Who they sent in from the command? Commissioner can't go. When the president went to Linden, he took Deputy Commissioner McBean with him. Did not take the commissioner. He did not take the man in charge of operations. Watts. No, they didn't carry. Yesterday, what going on at Tushan? Same thing, Watts too. Can't carry Watts for some other reason. And he is the man in charge of operations. Commissioner himself can't go. They send McBean again. And I said yesterday, I'm saying again, if you believe McBean is so competent, send the squad home and let McBean take over. Send the squad home and let McBean as the most senior deputy commissioner take over. But they're doing all sorts of magic with the thing. Right? All sorts of magic they're doing. So yeah, in-house league and in illegal fighting, fraud at the highest level of the administration, Brutus 261 charge. And remember one of the charges that Brutus get, which is alleged that he stole $60 million. The evidence suggests that that money was drawn by the lady at the police credit union there, not credit union, sorry, police consumers, and she was in company with the personal assistant of the commissioner. And the money was taken to the commissioner's office and handed over to Brutus in the presence of the commissioner. That is what the statement said. Right? So yeah, all the thing, we talk about a big set of fraud investigation. I don't know if they completed it at Finance and Region 1 and other regions. Millions and millions of dollars in fraud. So the concerned policemen know what they're talking about. The highest level of the administration, you get that. Mismanagement of resources. A man tell me, the man said, Chief, you know they're talking about vehicle and vehicle. A certain man get a police vehicle with a driver assigned to take his wife to work and to bring it back and he get his own vehicle, you know. He has a vehicle assigned to him. But in addition to that, there's a vehicle to take his family around the place, assigned with a police driver, right? There's a racial and political discrimination within the system. That is obvious. We know it. We alluded to it. We not only allude, we spoke about it. It is going on. Alleged corruption and drug runnings by senior officers. Alleged drug runnings and corruption by senior officers. Remember when they found the 4.4 tons of cocaine at Region 1? Kaicho News carried an article said that the commander was fingered in that. He was fingered in that. 4.4 tons of cocaine. Missing drugs. They charged 3 policemen the other day, some 400 grams. But they say how much 100 grams, or not grams, kilograms missing from the police headquarters armory where the drugs are stored. What happened to that investigation? Missing drugs, release of misinformation. And this is not an isolated case. The release deliberately trying to mislead the public. That is my view. Deliberately trying to mislead the public. Continuous financial impropriety. The thief in money left, right, and center and trying to cover for one another. Right now, as we say, Region 1, Finance Office, and all this big in the thing. Big. Mishandling of police operations. Well, you know operations. Since the Quindon Bacchus thing, mishandling, Watts went out there, had a special branch, shooting wrong in the air. Right? Linden, mishandle Linden. Then yesterday again, mishandled by the commander. These people, as I've said, are pitchforked into these positions. They are not properly trained. They are not qualified for those positions. And they have people in the system who are qualified. But because of their color, because of their ethnicity, no. They can't make command position. And I want them to challenge because I'll call name if they were to challenge me. So the people right. The people are correct. And let me show you more incompetence. Let me read this to you. Following what took place Wednesday with this missing girl and so on, an order was issued. And here what the order says. Please inform all heads of department, ELT team, there's the executive leadership team, the highest team in the thing, and regional commanders that with immediate effect, any children who was reported of being, that's what I'm reading what they're writing now, reported of being missing must be treated as a red alert and immediate action taken. Well, when I read this, I laugh because I said this just exposed how incompetent and dunce these people are. So you're sending out something to say, when any report you get of a missing child or children, must treat it as a red alert. What is a red alert? May I ask? What is a red alert? You have any SOP dealing with this type of thing? Again, I say the incompetence is staggering. You are sending out to say they must be treated as a red alert. You must be seen up on some TV or something red alert. But what is a red alert? What actions are to be taken? Who sends out the red alert? Is there a SOP outlining in detail the actions that are to be taken and by whom? That is how these things should be treated. Look, let me tell you something. I'm proud of myself because CC will tell you when I was in operations from 2008 to when I retired, 3 years or so, 2.5 to 3 years, I wrote a lot of orders. A lot of orders because these things require orders. People must know. You got to detail it. And writing the order is one, but then you have to make sure that people know what to take place. I wrote several orders. And to see what these people write in this thing at the highest levels. At the highest levels in the force, which only reinforces what we're saying. The people are incompetent and the people are out of their depth. They should not pack up and go. But then decent. Some people say do the decent thing, but you have to be decent to do the decent thing. The man said red alert. What is a red alert? If you ask, he ain't even know. But he's telling them from now on, when any missing person, and you're dealing with, well, not the missing person, child or children. So you deal with child or children, right? Missing person. So if an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20, and then gone missing, that is not a red alert. That must be a black alert. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. See, you've been a trader. Man, talking about red alert and all of these things. Talk to me, man.
Before though, let me go back to wisdom, and Mandel. He said he must go. And the thing, Mandel should have never been there. Mandel, whole generation come from West Emerald. His whole generation from there. And Paul, as you used to say, is incest. When they packing up them all them people from a scribble in G Division, we used to call it incest. His whole generation from West Emerald is there. So incest will take place. And then again back to Region 7. Region 8. That's major. That region there, the commander is an Indian. The commander is an Indian, and he was second in charge of Borbis when he was involved in a fatal accident. And with labor time, with breakneck speed, they appoint him commander for that region. Very incompetent and important commander in the region. Now, you're talking about red alert. Oh, Jesus. I don't know where's that, And then they're saying, just children. What happened to other people who were missing? I said before on an episode that all missing persons must be treated as murder unless you prove otherwise. Treat it as a homicide. And I think it's standing order, I think it was the 83, or I can't remember the exact standing order. It talks about missing person. And part of it says must be treated to finality. Person missing, don't tell me about no nonsense, but no red alert. All persons missing, treated as murder unless you prove otherwise. And as my contact said, when they tell the commander was them, hey, let me put a missing person report, he said, no, you will reason. You don't reason with the owner of the hotel. So let me see what's going to happen.
Yeah, let me see what is going to happen. Now, let me say this. What do we like going out? Let me. Hold on, yeah. Let me see what's going to happen. The whole thing is, I want the students explain what is a red alert. Now, we know what is a red alert, but you can't just jump up because you read somewhere about red alert. If you are in a command position in the force, you have to have an SOP, a standard operational procedure. If you get red, you got to get Amber Alert as well. To say, if there's an Amber Alert, what triggers an Amber Alert, what triggers a red alert, and what action is to be taken and by whom, and who gives the alert, what is the process to make a red alert or to Amber Alert. You have to do that. You can't just say red alert, because then you're going to get black alert too. You might even get white alert. You have to define what it is, what triggers it, and what action is to be taken by whom. Tell you how I run operations, like them now, you know. I run operations in the force for years. And I even was singing my own tune. I was highly competent in running it. I never get any blowback. So we understand it carefully, right? But if people just seeing things, reading book, well, they don't read much too. But you seen something on some TV show and you're talking about red alert and all this everything. It's craziness. You have to have a standard operational procedure, clearly written, clearly circulated in force orders and other places, so that all can know that if you hear Amber Alert, the patrols know what the Amber Alert is. The stations know what the Amber Alert is. You have a red alert, similarly. They all know what action is to be taken and by whom. So I hope they get enough information there to make sure that they can deal with it. Now, let me show you my reading. I got a lot of posts, some short posts on social media yesterday and today. May I call some of the people who made the post name? I don't want to expose them. But you get a drift of what the feeling is by the general public. And this is not only people in Guyana, generally. Hear what it says here. Markan, I am calling on President Ali to order the arrest of all the police who are handling this investigation and to set up an independent panel of lawyers to serve as prosecutors to question these lawmen. They must be placed in custody until the panel makes a determination as to what role, if any, they played in cover-up or deliberately misleading the family and the public. This is a prominent journalist wrote that. A prominent journalist wrote that. And another person wrote, I can call his name because I'm sure you get mine. My lawyer wrote to say, sad, 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 at the abduction and murder of 11-year-old Adriana Young at the Doubleday Hotel in Tushan and Sikivu. Condolences to the family of this child. A police statement riddled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations can bring the administration of justice into disrepute and put the public trust and confidence in Guyana's law enforcement entity at risk. This is no small matter. Each and every one of us are at risk if we cannot rely on the accuracy of a statement released by the Guyana Police Force. This is my lawyer, Mr. Selwyn Peters out of Canada. And Selwyn is correct. Selwyn is correct. When the police misrepresentation, distortions, and only deliberately so too, deliberately, they're doing that. One has to question the motive. And there's the next one, there's another few. This is another one. I'm going to call this one name too. I'm going to call his name. This is from Mr. Calvin Brutus, former Assistant Commissioner of Police. Hear what he says. Every inch of that premises should have been searched thoroughly, immediately after receiving a report. That ought to be the initial and natural impulse of the police. Had that occurred, an innocent Guyanese life would have been saved. My sincere condolences to the bereaved parents, family, relatives, and friends. Calvin Brutus wrote that. Calvin Brutus wrote that. As I tell you, I'll leave with Dharamlal. I don't get Dharamlal only. Even Dharamlal, the accused rapist, wrote. Now, this one tickled me. This one is yesterday. The vice president, very short. Here the vice president said, well, I didn't hear it myself. I saw the post, so I have to be careful. He's reported to have said yesterday, incident, he's talking about the incident. We lost a young teenage girl, Adriana Young. Jack Joe said we lost, I don't know since when 11 years a teenager. 11 years old girl, Jack Joe is reported to have said that we lost a young teenage girl, Adriana Young. and something say, are you part of the cover-up? Is Jagdeo deliberately lying? A VP would normally have the facts at their fingertips. But yet Jagdeo goes on television and calls her a teenager. Adriana Young was just 11 years old. Say her correct age. 11 years old, Mr. Jagdeo. Not no blasted teenager. She's not a teenager. Right? And they cut charge her life before she reached teenage thing. Then they say, and next one, why did the police mislead the family with all kinds of conjured up specific details? Was this deliberate? Here, what is being asked by a cousin of mine, I don't call her name. Why did the police mislead or misled the family with all kinds of conjured up specific details? Was this deliberate? Specific details she referred to car number and the thing left here. Yesterday morning, they said that they're trying to get the people again. Say, look, we just see some bus shed. All that was done. So all of that, they have to investigate. All of that. Then I got two more. They got two more. This one here says, I find in Guyana there's a lack of shame in the leadership of our institutions. Acts of gross negligence, clear exposure and corruption, mammoth failure, and plain stupidity often goes unpunished. In other parts of the world, heads would roll, or at least some would have the decency to acknowledge their shortcomings and the lack of confidence of the public and resign. Not here. These guys feel no shame. No one resigns. No one is fired. Business as usual the next day. So true. So true. And then the final one I have to read here, which says another very good journalist, some out of, well, I don't think she's in journalism any longer, but she's operating out of Canada. She writes very well. I love her writing. She said, the rage is indescribable. Enough. The kid must go. Right? The OC of the Tushan police station and the policeman that reported the so-called abduction of this 11-year-old girl and the clearly false trail should be under close arrest until a full and independent investigation is completed. Imagine that a hotel was searched last night and nobody was visible in the pool. Suddenly, it appears in the pool today. Obvious sign of trauma. Reports are her body was burnt or nose was stuffed with materials of some sort. Fate dictated that people remained there last night so there was no chance to sneak the body out and dispose of her elsewhere. And no, the Guyana Police Force is not to be trusted to carry out this investigation. Those are some of the comments I called from social media. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to deal with some other thing way forward. See, you heard what I said there about some of these brief posts and so on. I'm sure you want to say something else.
I want to comment on one, Calvin Brutus. I agree with him there, although I agree with him in his financial dealings. But when we look at what happened, what took place at the hotel there, in terms of managing the crime scene, in terms of taking assertive action, in terms of locking down the place, I want to share some of the things that I learned when I did managing that investigation. Paul, you also did that with the FBI. And they give you some hints, some clear guidelines in terms of what should you do in your approach to the crime scene. And they call it preliminary. A, there's P, proceed to scene and assess situation. Render aid to injured. Effect arrest. Locate witnesses. Interview complainant and witnesses. Maintain crime scene and protect evidence. I repeat, maintain crime scene and protect evidence. Inform other police officers. Note all condition, events, and remarks. Arrange for searching scene and collecting evidence. Report incident. Yield responsibility. And, When I look at what took place there was no command and control. There was no effort to maintain the crime scene and to protect any it was there. And then the thing saying also you got to look at the theory of exchange. Lockhart theory of exchange. It's saying the perpetrator will take away traces of the victim and at the scene. The victim will retain traces of the perpetrator and may leave traces of himself or herself or the or the perpetrator. The perpetrator will leave behind traces of himself or herself at the scene. And if you don't protect the scene, and you see no tape go around the place, and you see the place lack off, as the case may be, And then again, you got to look for physical evidence. And when you obtain the physical evidence, must be obtained legally. It got to be collected and preserved properly. You got to maintain what you call the chain of command. And you got to conduct proper tests with proper persons. And the thing is, I ain't heard that they are arrested anybody apart from the man who is abducted somebody or hit and run accident. That they had the authority to arrest a lot of people. All those people in the hotel there, they should have detained them, keep them there so you do a proper investigation. But no, they just left the place here, scaring people moving in and out, in and out, in and out, and evidence, valuable evidence there will be destroyed. So maybe they need to have proper training in terms of initial action at the scene of a crime, especially the first responders. And I see other responders too, because I want them accounted about 10 people in Keiki just walking about the place. No effort being made to protect the scene, to interview persons, to make sure that things are, nobody carry anything, nobody then leave the place, as the case may be. Lock it down. But then, why go lock down? I can't lock down the place if I'm in the man's pocket. I cannot lock down any place, buddy.
Yeah, how you gonna lock down is Jack you pelled about. You can't lock down. And talking about the hotel, they did say in a release that the proprietor of the hotel and some staff members were held. I saw the crime scene vehicle there at that place this afternoon. We also saw people demonstrating in front of Leonora police station, because my information is that they're claiming that the proprietor of the hotel is detained at Leonora police station. There is a report on social media that the man and his family beat out. In other words, they left the country. Again, I say, that is where the commission and these people come in. You're going to get a lot of rumors floating around the place. But if you had a commissioner who was competent enough to interact with the media, and they had a good relationship, and the media, and they were credible, they could have issued a release. They could have called somebody in the media and to tell them what the true story is. But you have to have credibility. When I was a commander, not boasting and bragging, but when things happen on media, some people call me, and I will tell them this is it. I would go so far sometimes to tell them, look, I'm going to tell you the whole story, but you can't carry this part yet because this might compromise the investigation. And I would tell them, and I am confident that the people who I related it to in that way will do just that, because they were professional people. Not them jokers who get running around, we said they are media operatives and they're senior media. A lot of jokers. But that's the type of relationship you have to have. Let me tell you all this. And I don't talk things that can't be backed up. I had a birthday party once when I was at Big Dam. And I invited a whole set of people there. I think it would have been my 52nd or something like that. Big thing in the yard. I invited a lot of my media friends and so on, or people I knew in the media came. And Henry Green, who was the commissioner, he was invited and he came. And when he saw the people, he made some comment. He now know why certain things in A division don't go out and all them type of thing. Because I had a relationship with the people. They knew they could have trusted me to tell them certain things. I knew I could have trusted them to tell them what needs to be released and what ought not to be released. But they ain't get it now. They don't have that now. So you have rumors going around that the proprietor of the hotel, his wife and children have left the country. They have fled because if the proprietor was at the hotel at the time, anytime during this period, he had to be a suspect. Fled. Nobody is trying to debunk, they like use the word. They're not trying to debunk that. So that is the story that you have. So rumors are going to fly. So people outside Lenrock police station, a large number of persons were out there about 2 hours ago. I don't know if they're still there, and demanding to see this man who they claim is in custody. And how are they dealing with it? I don't know how they're dealing with it. Because one of the things they should have immediately done, as I've said, get rid of Mandel, send Mandel and leave, administrative leave or something, and then investigate who mislead people, who try to set up this subterfuge to say that the girl left in car and all this type of thing, trying to get the people to move away from there so they can perhaps spray the body if the person died by then away. And then you would hear, as I said, some eternal accident somewhere, find somebody. It's a good thing that people stay there. God is great. He gave them the courage to remain there. And we saw what unraveled because of their tenacity. They didn't go in any place. We staying right there. We ain't going no place. Now the way forward in this matter. They say a thorough investigation got to be done. The president said that he tell he came to put together a team. That ain't gonna work. So who you gonna put? Because as I indicated sometime before, perhaps on another program, I can't remember now, right? This investigation must find out the role of the commander, who is he's an assistant commissioner. The role perhaps of the crime chief, who is a deputy commissioner. The role of the commissioner, all them you gotta find out. So who you putting in the force? Some bloody ASP or somebody again, like they did with the Brutus case, who said they're investigating. It's back to the same square one because they investigate Brutus, and I don't think they ever questioned Ikin, even though Ikin seemed to have been complicit in some of the charges or some of the actions taken by Brutus, which led to charges. So who's going to investigate, Mr. President? Tell us, pray, tell us, who are these people in this team that you expect Ikin to put together to do a proper, comprehensive, thorough, credible investigation? Who? Tell us who. I don't think you have those persons there. If you really want something to be done, maybe you want to set up. Well, let's understand, the murder has to be investigated. But in addition to the investigation of the murder, you have to investigate what we will call the breakdown in the command structure. Why wasn't this place locked down Wednesday night? Why? Was instruction given for someone not to do that? Who? How did this misleading information started? That should not be a part of the murder investigation. That should be a separate investigation. Separate investigation. What was the role of the commissioner in all of this? Did he give instructions to them to back off? I don't know. But I'm saying you have the child found dead. There's a murder investigation you're doing there. That should have people who are doing that. And then in terms of the command arrangement, you got to get a separate instruction. I have a question, Mandel. I can't see any one of them investigators who get said a questioning the assistant commissioner, perhaps the deputy commissioners, Blanham, McBean, Karimbash. They are the ones who are going to do and question. Again, these will come and they make these statements and they don't think these things through. They don't think it through. So investigation, yes. Investigation. Things are being, we have things surfacing now to suggest that this fire might have been deliberately set to destroy evidence. There are videos circulating. Maybe you want to look into that too. Who is the policeman who is being accused of perhaps being the person who started the fire in the room where this child is alleged to have been? Who? Because you remember, they got people who went in there and searched. All of those persons who went in there, you got to take statement from them. Now, too, Not when long down the road when things fade. You ought to have gone in there since yesterday. Yesterday, not only the forensic part that you might be trying to unravel and uncover, but also to make sure that people who went in there to search give statement to say what they did and the fact that they did not see anybody there. You don't want that down in writing. What happened to the CCTV footage? I do not believe the story that those cameras were not working. So one would have thought since Wednesday night, a proper commander, not a commando, a commander would have instructed or would have gone there himself. All right, then walking, seize the recording device. Seize the reverse recording device to see what evidence you can get from it. But by now, that was gone. And then the fire carry away. The people them who responsible, they pick it up and gone. Right? By now, you ought to have a list of all the people who worked there, all the people who visited there, all this type of thing. I'm just giving them some pointers as to what should happen. Not run around and talk about a red alert and a black alert and all them crap that the squatter doing. Right? Let me issue a red alert now. My red alert is that Ikin must go. Clifton Ikin, a man who sits there as a commissioner of police long past his retirement age, must go. Get up and go. Pack your things and go. You're past retirement. Go mind grand picnic. Go plant corn, plant something, sweet potato, cassava, them thing in demand. Go and do something. You had sandpit. You get all this type of thing. Go and ask back now for your sandpit and get involved in some other activity. You are not good for the Guyana police force. You're not good for the country, despite what all of them saying. And Jack Dio and Irfan Ali know that. But maybe you get thing over them. You get secret for them so they can't allow you to go now. But negotiate, go tell them, say, look, I fed up. I fed up. I want to go. I want to go. That's where you got to go and tell them, I want to go home. I want to go home. You know, little picnic used to cry, I want to go home, mommy. Go, you want to go home. Go and tell them that you want to go. Because you're no good. The ranks are writing now, even though anonymously. They are writing. More are going to come up and write. And they're gonna chronicle all the mishaps and all the missteps and all the misdeeds since you took over. It has been a rapidly downward trend since you took over the force. Because once you take over under them circumstances, that's what's going to happen to you. You run for the work, you get what you want, but you don't want what you get. A deteriorating police force. And if the government is serious about stopping this rapid decline and deterioration, they can start by making sure that they tell Ikin bye-bye. Bye-bye. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing remarks, and then we're going to give you a look forward. CC, your closing remarks.
Well, those things couldn't have happened, you know. Because remember, the command had the reason, according to the information, had the reason with the owner. So those things couldn't happen there. They lock down the place and do what they got to do and do proper thing. And team, who is the team? I've been running the divisions, the police division, see the divisional detective officers, and I didn't see any of any quality. I remember the one who's now a senior soup, who when he want to caution the mayor, had to pull out a piece of paper and read about it. We don't have divisional detective officers of the highest quality. Like what we used to have. I don't call names because it will take all afternoon to call names. They are not available. They're in there. And worse yet, the major crime department there, corrupt set of people. I'm talking about the major crime. I want to know how the investigation is going on. I understand on sometime on March Day, a detective sergeant from the crime unit lost his weapon. He been in a fight and he lost his weapon. And they keep it down. They answer nothing. I repeat, a detective sergeant from the major crime unit lost his firearm. No report made, and they quiet him down. And then I must go on to my financial statement. You know, I have to close the financial statement. The investigation by the other department that is still at a standstill. And some blame game. The region 1 accusing the extended squatter and the finance officer. He say, you tell me if you go and cover up. You tell me if go and pull up bogus thing. And then they tell you, no. We tell you to cover up, but we didn't tell you for act clumsy, for rush to Morocco and get people to sign all kind of documents, to rush to Port Kaitumo and get people to sign all kind of documents to go to Mabaru, to go to Matthews Ridge, and also the police get their own speedboat, and we didn't tell you for rent any speedboat and put up a big fancy tariff on it, you know. So that investigation apparently is going nowhere. It started, but it's going. But we're going to keep it on the front burner, just like how we keep the credit union on, and then other things came out, because many more things will come out. The fraud, the financial irregularities is massive in the Guyana police force, in the various regions, and at finance offices at the time. And we asking for the removal of Mandel. What made the finance officer? Why is he still there? Huh? Why is he still there? And what made the Region 1 commando? Why is he still there and serious allegation made against them? Huh? What really is going on? That's why the force can't come good, but they need to have a shaking up from top to bottom, led by the confirmed squatter. He must go, and others must follow. He must pull along a horse out of them. All people who are complicit with him, he must pull them down, and they must go. Only so the force can get good.
I agree with you fully. He must go, and perhaps this is the opportunity for them to say, well, why we can't carry this garbage or this baggage any longer. As the people said in the letter, that is the albatross around the neck of the force. So he should go. Akin must go. Akin must go. Right? They have other competent people. Anybody can be better than he at this stage. Let me understand. All the contenders, any one of the contenders will be better. They can do worse. I don't think they can do worse. And I don't know. Again, I say, what is the reason the government is bending back? Because remember, they Nandala come up with some legal magic to say that it's okay for him to be appointed, even though he had passed the retirement age. Even though he had passed the retirement age, he come up with some magic. And it has been a constant downward trend before then, and it continues. It continues. So, folks, last week when we were here, we were talking about the Linden issue. And imagine in less than 2 weeks, you have this again, another crisis in the country, in the Guyana Police Force. It speaks to lack of management. It speaks to incompetence because, as somebody said, and I fully endorse that, if the police are taking proper action Wednesday night, when this girl was reported missing, now not teenager like what Jack Dio said, an 11-year-old girl was reported missing. If they are taking appropriate action, maybe that girl would not have died. And that is why I say, when they do the post-mortem examination, it will be interesting to know the time of death, because the grandmother gave a timeline. They went in there about 1, and I think she was missing like about 2. And then essentially they discovered she yesterday morning, floated in the pool. When critic of all people went in there Wednesday night, video record the whole thing, and showed us that the pool, clear water, transparent water, and that nobody was there. So it was clear that she was put there sometime yesterday morning, because the people said around 6 or so they went in there and they searched again, and that body wasn't there. So let me see what is going to happen. Let us see. Today is Friday. I wish you all a very productive weekend, relaxing, productive weekend. We are scheduled to come back here on Monday, God's Spirit Life. I neglected to tell you earlier that I had court again this morning. The sexual offenses charge, 3 of them. This morning, my attorneys were to submit written no case submission, but we got another week now to submit until so next Friday that submission will be made. But you know, all is good. The truth will be told. The truth will be revealed. So that is where we are in terms of that matter. And, you know, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. I mean, it's long. It's years running. Years. Charged in 2021. Allegations that the incident occurred in 2019. And this is 2025. And it's going through the process. So happy weekend to everyone. All things being equal, God's spare life. We will be back here on Monday for another episode. And I always telling you, you know, things are so dynamic in Guyana. Things happen. We know things might come up overnight, and which would require us to come back here to bring it up to you. Because we want to get those stale news. We have left back a lot of things. The report about the U.S., about the corruption, and that the Guyana police force is the weakest link or the weak link in the fight against drug, and all them things we got to tell you about. But things coming up, things happening rapidly. And let me say finally that I have to congratulate you folks on your attendance this Friday afternoon. Massive attendance. The students were not that many in the schoolyard. But once the thing started, oh Lord, you will see how you are pouring in, man. Y'all want the information, we will bring the information to you. All we ask is to make sure that you come, you subscribe, and you follow the channel. You also offer a donation if you can. The numbers are there, Zelle number, Cash App number, MMG number, and so on. Those numbers are there. And please, thanks to those who have been making contributions, please. Now, finally, I said finally before, I said finally again. Now, for those people who are in the US and Canada, I have good news for you. There's a presentation on financial literacy on Sunday. It's for people in Canada and the US in particular. If you are interested, it's a Zoom thing, free for about an hour. If you are interested, please let me know. Inbox me, tell me you're interested, and I'll send you the information so that you can join. It's from 6 o'clock Sunday afternoon. It will last about an hour, and I think it will be an hour well spent, especially in these turbulent times. Those of you who have retirement funds, and those of you watching the stock market, and people getting laid off and so on, there should be some very valuable or invaluable information there for you. So I invite you again. Any one of those numbers you can message or call, and I am going to, once you're interested, I'm going to provide you with the details so that you can join. 6 o'clock. It will run from about 6 to about 7. Not long after 7. Some very valuable information. I'll invite you. So, folks, until then, stay well until we meet again. Bye.